Brittany. So today's gonna be a popcorn chat video, and today I'll be discussing on Scream 3. And Scream 3 came out, well, what was it? February 2000? Hang on, let me look it up real quick. I know it was somewhere around there. Yeah, I think it was at least 2000. Hang on one sec for me to get the date right. So yes, it did come out in 2000, but it was released on February 4th, 2000. And you know, so of course this is like the third installment of the Scream franchise, and Wes Craven did a really great job with this movie. And of course they did had there was a script that they had before, but after what happened with Columbine, that they completely scratched off that script and within that story, and then they had to rewrite it again, which is the one that we got. And if you want to know more about that, I will leave a link to a video of Craven Something Scary, because he did a video on that, and I will leave the link to his channel and the video in the description below. And so yeah, I didn't know that until I watched his video on that, so that was actually quite surprising. So I didn't even know about that. And so with, I think, some rewrites that they had to go through and to come up with this story that we did get to see, I would say they still did a really good job. And of course, with the writer Kevin Williamson, he did a good job writing the script as well. And I think everyone on their part did a really good job. And of course, the music is composed by I'm sorry, the train. So I think the composer is Margot Beltrami. So yes, even he did a good job with the music. And everyone who worked on this movie, really did a good job, because it's like, seeing this story of Scream 3 is just, quite different from the first and from the second. And of course this is taking place in LA and Hollywood, and so of course Sydney, as she finds out that her mother was an actress in 3 horror movies. And but of course, I think when she was trying to, I think now of course we don't even know, but it would be interesting to see like a prequel, to see like the events before Scream. But of course, I think as far as we can see, that was Sydney's mother when she was trying to, I think, get into her acting career, that even though she was in 3 horror movies, that things weren't going so well with her because she was taken advantage of. And it just left her scarred, and just left her I think at some point maybe she got out of it because she felt like this isn't worth it. Like if this means that she has to go through this horrible thing just to land a role in a movie, that is not even worth it. So I think at some point, she did got out of it and she met Sydney's father. But I think at some point when she was going through that, I think at some point she did got pregnant and she had Roman, and he was her first child, firstborn child, but yet now I don't know who the father is really. I mean, some might assume that it's John Milton, the producer, I think, who helped her, and maybe one of the people who probably took advantage of her. So I don't know if he's the father or if someone else is, maybe an unknown character that we don't even know about. I absolutely have no idea, but like I said, at some point I do think she got out of it because she felt like this was too much, that no one should go through this just to get a role in a movie. And of course, that's something I think, that a lot of that happened back then. And, which is terrible. And I do think for those who are trying to get into acting, and if you feel like someone's gonna try to take advantage of you, then yeah, then that is not even worth it. But of course, that doesn't mean they're not, that doesn't mean that there are not other good people that can really help you and that will, have your back and that have your support and that will do anything to get you a role that you like, something you're comfortable with, and knowing that they're there to help you, not the other way around. And I know that's a very like a more touchy, more sensitive subject, but I'm just saying that this is something that people have gone through, which is horrible, and I feel bad of that. And this is something that even Sydney's mother of her character went through as well. So, and but like I said, I think at some point she got out of it, and when she did meet Sydney's father, I think she felt like that somehow things could be different for her, living a different life. And so Sydney is her second child, and so we see how, but then again it's like, because even though she was married at that point of her life when she had Sydney, I think at some point, I think when Sydney, now I don't know how long this had been going, like when Sydney was a child or a teenager, but I think at some point when Sydney was a bit older, that's when that's when her mother, Maureen, that's when she started cheating on her husband. And she, was, like, first it was, with Cotton, and then it was with her daughter's boyfriend's father. So it's like, okay, and I don't know why exactly she was doing that, really. Like, I don't know if it's because of what she went through, or I don't know if it's because that maybe she probably didn't feel happy with the person she married, so somehow she was doing this because she was trying to figure out who really makes her happy and who she really wants to be with. Like, I have no idea, but to me it's like there is no good reason when it comes to cheating, and there's also no good there's just no reason for someone to take advantage of another person, in such a horrible, vulnerable way. But anyway, um, so of course, all I'm trying to say is that Sydney doesn't know that her mother was in these, horror movies, but she also doesn't know she has a brother, a half brother, and of course we don't know anything about that at all until the end. But I would say with the story we got, I mean, I still like the story of how certain things we get to know about here and there. And maybe some things that somehow still leave us questioning, like, okay, well, we have, there are some things we have questions about. What about this? What about that? So, yeah, and I'm just glad, because it did explore a little bit more about her mother. Um, but man, that nightmare scene was scary. Because I remember when I first watched it, and it looked like she was actually seeing her mother, like, maybe seeing her apparition or her ghost, at the outside of the window of the house. I really thought, oh, like, okay, is this for real? Is this really happening right now? Is that her ghost or something? I wasn't sure, but that was scary. Um, and so, of course, then, at some point, Ghostface comes in, and turns out it was just a nightmare she was having. But that's some nightmare, like, oh, jeez, that would scare me. So, and I just want to say that even with these new characters that we get to see, um, they're good characters. Um, and of course, but I think with Angelina, I think she's the one that I find a bit more like something was up with her. So I do think she was somewhat involved, that she was probably one of the Ghostface killers, but we never get to see if she was somehow involved. But like I said, I do think so. I just think that I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was someone who didn't want that, didn't want another ghost face, where it's like, oh yeah, there's two people involved. But yeah, somehow when you watch it, it doesn't really look like, oh yeah, it was just Roman doing all of this, like him being here, him being there. It just kind of seems impossible. It just seems like he must have had some kind of help, which is why I think um he must have had some kind of help with Angelina, because it seems like, because she wanted the role of Sydney so bad, I think she somehow maybe agreed to it. That's what I think. But yeah, I just want to say, for the cast who play these characters that are, new, and ones that we see, that they're like have each role of who they're playing who, like in the stab movies. I think it was quite interesting, so it was nice to see that. um and so yeah, I think everyone did such a great job. And of course, Roger L. Jackson did an amazing job with the ghost of Ghostface, because it's so intimidating and very menacing, that it's just one of those things where you feel like intimidated by. and where you feel scared, where you feel like, okay, I don't want to bother this person because what if they end up hurting me, or what if they hurt me? So it's almost like, okay, you may want to back away a bit, you know. But yeah, and like I said, I think everyone did such a good job. Like the composer did a good job with the music, making it very um I don't know how to put it, but the music is great. It does make those parts intense and scary within Scream 3. And like I said, even the rest of the cast did a good job, like with David Arquette. With him being Dewey, it's just, he did that character so well. And, because he's such a very lovable character. And so, he does a great job. And with Courtney Cox, she did a great job with Gail as well. And Nev Campbell as Sydney, yeah, she did a really great job as Sydney as always. So, I just love her performance in Scream, whether it's from the first one, even up until the fifth one. So yeah, and I don't know if she's gonna be in part six. I mean, I've heard that she isn't, so I think in part six she isn't in it, but I think hopefully in seven she might be, but I don't know. I can't say for sure. But yeah, I just want to say that I do like the story that we get to see of what unfolds in Scream 3, and that all, like, the cast, like, did a great job with each of their character and their performance. And Wes Craven, he did an amazing job directing this movie, and Marco Beltrami did a great job with the music, composing the music, and Kevin Williamson also doing a good job writing the script himself and bringing it to life, and how we could see it within the movie. And so everyone, both on screen and off screen, did such a really great job. And somehow, like, I do feel bad for Sydney towards the end, because it's like, she never knew she had any siblings until the end. And I'm pretty sure, even though it was shocking, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure she must have been devastated to know that one of her siblings she never knew about and first met him until the end, and turns out he was the one behind all this. That I'm pretty sure she was just, just completely sad by that, completely devastated, because, it's like, somehow I do wish if Sydney had another sibling, like a brother or sister, that they would be the ones that would be there for her, to have her back and be able to protect her, because, like, well, since you're my sister, I want to protect you, so I wish somehow Cindy had that kind of loving kind of family support. So, and because she didn't get that from her brother, because she never met him until now, the end is like, okay, well, like, it's like one of those, I don't know what to say moments, but I'm feeling very, like, sad, because I wish I could have known you, and yet I didn't know you were this kind of person, and you're the one that caused for this to happen. So it's just sad. And so yeah, that's why I feel bad for her, for, like, I wish she had someone in her family that would show her the kind of support that you get from a loving family, you know. So I wish she could have had that support, but she didn't. But not to say that with Gail and Dewey that they're not, because you know, even when you make friends with someone and you are very close with your friends, they also become like your family too. So yeah, and I would say that she had that support at least from Gail and Dewey, since they were probably like like the closest thing like to having a family, you know. So yeah, but the twist though that Roman is her half brother, like okay, that was a twist I did not saw coming when I first saw it. Cause yeah, I just remember it was just like one of those moments where it's like, you know, pause the movie and it's like, okay, wait a minute, how how did this happen? You know, so to me it was like one of those moments like, okay, wait a minute, wait, like, okay, please explain to me how, why, like, you know, so you have questions, so yeah. And I'm still kind of wondering about that too. Like, who was Roman's father? Was it really John Milton? Or was it someone else, like an unknown character that we just don't even know about? Like, who knows? So, anyway, but yes, regardless, I enjoy the movie. It's still a great Scream sequel in the franchise, and everyone, both on screen and off screen, did a really great job. And um, yeah, and of course, I would say. Now, I actually did dreamt about this movie though. So if you want to check that out, please do in the dream list, in the dream uh, playlist. Um, so yeah, now as I mentioned before that I am going to be doing videos on Halloween, but also my birthday's coming up in November soon, so yeah, so I might be doing videos either before or sometime after that. I don't really know. But either way, I'll let you know until then. So, hope you enjoyed this. And let me guys know what you think of Scream 3. So, that's all for today. And I'll see you at the movies.